Craig Kimbrough, Positive Guru. That's positiveguru.com. It's always glad to have you along for this journey into the world of spirituality, metaphysics, and meditation. Today's subject matter, and I've gotten to the point to where now we do these YouTube videos, I always have to have the title first, which I guess helps me stay on point a little bit more too. But today's subject matter is the power of determination, and especially the power for determination for heaven here and now. I got to thinking about this because I was working on a book I'm working on, and I was telling some different stories about some things that had happened in the past and whatnot. And as I was going over one of the stories, I particularly focused on an aspect of the story that I sometimes notice, but I don't think I actually focus on enough. And that's the power of determination. And I was actually going over a story that I've told many times, but I just felt like still it was necessary to make it in the book because it was my, for me, I mean, there's many things that lead us onto a spiritual path, no doubt. Some of us come here prepared for a spiritual path, and everything that's happening in life is leading us there. But there's this one particular event that I just felt like this was my crossover to where I just really decided that this is what my life is about. And I mean, I just dove all the way in at that point. And it was the time when I asked to be awakened at a specific time, and at that time was 2:01 in the morning. And there's a whole backdrop as to why I asked to have that experience. But I asked to have that experience because really I wanted to know that I was connected with the world. I wanted to know that my subconscious was a powerful tool. And I said, man, if I'm connected with this internal clock and I can access this internal clock and make myself wake up at this time without a clock, without a watch, without anything of that sort, then I'm on to something. And now I'll start this meditation stuff. And the first time I tried it, I commanded my subconscious that I'm going to wake up at 2:01 in the morning. I went to sleep. And I have to say, I had motivation for it too, because I had these reoccurring dreams where I saw myself dying at an early age. And I just wanted the dreams to be over with. And I said, if I can do this first technique and it works, then that means the rest of the stuff works. And that means this meditation stuff may work. And maybe I can be done with this thing that I'm plagued with, because I was really getting concerned. I didn't want it to attract it in my life and actually have it happen. So went to bed, told myself I was going to wake up at 2:01, commanded my powerful subconscious mind, woke up around 6 o'clock. So then I decided I would try it again. The next night, went to sleep again. Told my powerful subconscious mind I was going to wake up at 2:01 in the morning. But interesting thing happened. My sister's cat kept coming in the room, bothering me. I slept for a little while, but then in the middle of the night, Amber comes in there and she's walking across my bed. And there was no reason for her to do this. She didn't usually do this. She wasn't close to me or anything like that. She didn't usually want my attention. But this particular night, she's just walking across me on the bed, and then she's smacking me in the face with her tail. I finally get upset. I just say, forget it, I'll get up. And I wake up and I look at the digital clock next to me on the bed or on the nightstand, and it said 2:01. I absolutely could not believe it. I still, when I think back on it, find it to be an incredible thing, even after all the things that have happened to me in my life, because it was just so incredible. Not just that I or this other part of myself wake me up at 2:01. It got the cat to come. I was on the third floor of the house. The cat came from downstairs in my sister's room, where she would normally be, up to my room to get me up. And I figured that the universe made it happen that way so I could see that there was more to it than just my subconscious powering this inner part of myself to be connected with this clock, but even showing me that I'm connected to everything, the clock, my cat, all the outside forces. I said, oh my God, this is something else. But what I want to focus on today is the first time I tried it, it did not happen. And there's been a lot of things that have happened that have been straight up miracles in my world. Straight up. I mean, when I was thinking about this, I'm like, wow, if I can focus and have other beings come in my aid, and it's something that's never happened in this way before, there's no limit to what can be done. But I also have to remember that it may not happen the first time I try it. I remember that, or realize that I have to be determined that this is going to happen. And once we decide, once we find something that is beneficial, that we need to happen, we know want to happen, and not only that, but we are clear that this is what we want to happen. We are clear that this is what God wants for us. Then we have to be determined. We can't just be kind of lackadaisical about it. Oh, you know, I like to wake up at 2:01 in the morning. Oh, well, it didn't happen. I guess this stuff doesn't happen. If I took that approach, I may not be talking to you today because I probably wouldn't have been so into the meditation path that I'll end up teaching it. But when I had that experience, it changed my life. It changed how I looked at life. I immediately dove all the way in. And then not only did the reoccurring dream stop, but recurring back pain that I had, chronic back pain, just left. But it was because of being determined. Now, granted, my back was against the wall with these recurring nightmares, but that's what led to the determination. When I thought about that, I thought about another situation that I've talked about at different times when I needed to have a sign for my bookstore, and I had gotten a sign from God when I asked God, "Hey, tell me how to bring more people in here." And I meditated I set the whole day aside to meditate. I stopped right there. Determination. Not I'm gonna meditate for a few minutes and maybe that'll make me know how to bring more people in my store. Okay, I tried it. It didn't work. I guess it works for Mr. Ambrister, my teacher. It works for Parahasa Yogananda. It works for Dr. Thin, but I'm not advanced enough yet to get my information like that. But I was determined. I closed the store for that day. And I decided I am going to get my sign as to how to bring people into the store, because what I'm doing right now isn't working. I have a sign in my window. Bought a nice neon blue and yellow sign that had the name of the bookstore on it, My Philosophy of Life, in the window. Thought I was doing something when I got this sign. This is before that day. Still no people coming in, very few people. I put an ad in the Phenomena News, which was this publication that all the metaphysical type folks, my store is a metaphysical bookstore. Well, I put a sign in that paper, knowing that, hey, this is where everybody advertises in this community that I like to be in. Surely they're going to start to come in. Very few people came in. I said, I know what, I put it on WQRS, this radio station that played classical music, and some of the advertisements I heard, I said, well, people there, surely they're like, I'm going to be on the radio. Very few people came in. So now I said, I've got to have this happen. Tell me how to do it. I need a sign. I can't remember if I said 24 hours or 48 hours. 48 was usually my limit. But I said, I'm closing the store. I'm just going to meditate all day. I'm going to meditate. If I get thirsty, get up, get some water, come right back in and meditate. And I meditated for a long period of time that day. My determination. The next day when I'm in my my print shop that I go to, my friend Roy, he was talking about how when I walked in, he said, "You know what, Craig? I got chills. I knew my answer was coming." He said, when I used to live in Florida, I had so much walk-in business. Now I have people who know about me, like you coming in. I don't have all this walk-in business. Matter of fact, when I was on Northwestern Highway, I had all this walk-in business. I don't have that anymore. I determined it's because my store sits so far back from the road, you can't see that I'm here. You can see that Arbor is here, which is now CBS, but you can't see me because I sit further back. He said, "You know what I'm going to do? Make me an old truck. I don't care if the thing runs." And he So I put the sign all the way across the truck. I did it in Florida and it worked. I said, "Oh my God, I've got an old truck that barely runs. I was thinking about getting rid of. This is my sign. God has come. The universe has come." I got that truck, paid somebody to airbrush the name of the store from the front to the back, put it out on the highway proud, right in front of where the store was. And my store did sit back, and just knew people were coming in. No one came in. I said, "Man, what's going on? This doesn't make sense." God has talked to me. The universe has spoken. It was too much of a coincidence to be a coincidence. This is real. What's wrong with this picture? What am I not doing right? Determined, once again, I went outside. I rode up and down the street to see what the experience would be like for the people. All the cars that go up and down Southfield Road. I'm on a major street. I realized that they can't see that truck unless they're up close, and they're going, I don't know how fast, 40 some miles, 50 miles an hour. I said, they can't see it. I spent this money. I got this beautiful sign, but they can't see it. So I went back to the drawing board. Took that truck home to barely ran. Painted the whole, I decided it's going to be a billboard that's going to stand from far away. I painted the whole top part of the truck white. Left the bottom beige like it was. Then I got these stencils as big as I could possibly get the stretch name all the way across. Once I shortened the name so I could have the letters even bigger. Philosophy Bookstore. Put those decals on the side of that van. I still remember the night I was doing it, my friend Dave came by. We were talking out in the backyard of my house. Put those things on the van. I believe he helped me out. My memory is sort of vague, but man, the next day, people started walking in the store more than usual and kept telling me, "I saw your sign. I saw your sign." Talked to my cousin at Thanksgiving dinner. They said, "What are you doing right now? What are you doing, Craig? What's going on these days with you business-wise?" So I opened up this bookstore. He said, "Oh yeah, where is it located?" I said, "It's on Southfield Road." He said, "Do you have an old van?" I saw that sign. But people just started coming into the store. But it happened, one, on account of meditating. Two, on account of being open to the signs. In addition to that, being determined. I meditated for a few minutes, but no, I meditated for a long period of time because I was determined. That's the only thing I knew how to do. So I'm going to do what I know how to do. I was determined. And then I got my sign. But even after I got my sign telling me this is what I am to do, and I did it, once again, it still didn't work out the first time. But I was determined. I knew that this is what God wanted for me. I felt it in my heart. I decided that this has got to be, I've got to put more into it than this. And it happened once I tried again. When we are determined, we have decided this is my new life. This is how it's going to be. And once we have decided that this is how it's going to be, in our heart of hearts, the universe goes into action, tells us to do certain things. And it's up to us to move with it. If God tells you to do something, what's more important than that? You don't know all the things that are going to come from it. But this is a command from your higher self. The higher self that knows all, sees all, and can do all. The higher self that knows what's best for you and your family. That knows what's best for your loved ones, your husband, your wife, whoever, your friends. And we can't just half step our way there. I remember when I started stumbling onto the idea and possibility of heaven being here and now. Not saying that when we leave, we can't still experience heaven also, but I wanted it not just there, I wanted it here. And I stumbled onto that once again because God told me there was such a thing. I had experiences telling me that you are to experience heaven right here, right now. I even asked God one time, hey, would you tell me, would you show me if this is the case? Would you show me that I am one with God and that heaven is here? And a whole series of events, I meditated also, a whole series of events came into play to let me know that on that particular day, first I watched the videotape that I just suddenly got the idea I should watch. It was a Joseph Campbell video. He was talking about that. But I said, oh, that's not enough. Somehow I probably knew that was on that tape. I want to know that this is the case. I was led to go see a movie that evening. A movie that I didn't even want to go see. My girlfriend at the time wanted to see. But in the midst of that movie, it started talking about us being one with God. Started talking about how heaven will not be located in bricks of stone. And at the end of the movie, on the screen, appeared the same gospel that's not even in the Bible. A gospel that was dug up in Nag Hammadi 1945. Well, this appears at the end of the screen, and it's the same exact gospel that Joseph Campbell was talking about that day at a movie I didn't even want to see. I said, oh man, heaven is here and now, and I'm one with God. Well, one day I'm talking to my teacher, and I'm telling him that I'm beginning to believe that is the case. That heaven is here, wherever I am. And he says something interesting to me that I put in the 30 Days of Metaphysics book. And you can get this book on Amazon, 30 Days of Metaphysics, Miracles and Enlightenment in Your Life, by me, Craig Kimbrough. But this saying I got from my teacher, and then I elaborated on the next page. He said, going to heaven, we're talking, and I'm explaining to him, I believe heaven is here. He says, but going to heaven is not enough. You have to bring heaven back here. This is page 141. My explanation. Going in meditation is wonderful and needed for our supreme happiness on the enlightenment path. At the same time, it's not enough. We should be in complete enjoyment all the time, realizing that God is with us and that we are in heaven right now. We have to get to the place where we see life as a wonderful journey, where wonderful things are constantly trying to happen to us if we can see the beauty and embrace the lesson at hand. Yes, we should go in deep meditation regularly. Otherwise, we won't see the Father's beauty and magic in our world. Once we do, we must embrace Him and our world totally in all the ways that God shows up in our world. The more we do this, the more our world expands to include heaven both here and in the hereafter. One of the most interesting things we find as we enter the higher worlds is there's only one world. Our perception of it is just widened. So now we see things that we never thought we would, and life becomes incredibly beautiful. So, up until then, I thought, well, I had some experiences with heaven. I meditated, and I've seen beautiful realms. I've seen the blue realm that I heard Forrest Whitaker have the guts to come on and talk about to Oprah on the Oprah Winfrey Show when she said, what was the highlight of the whole experience when you were acting in the Butler movie during that whole time? What was the highlight? He told her, I traveled to this blue realm, this blue dreamlike realm, this blissful realm. I've seen stuff like that. I said, well, this is heaven. When I was there, I said, oh my God, this is so wonderful. I don't even want to go. I don't want to go back. I'm here. Told I have more things to do, more things to share. And I thought things like that. Well, that's when I'm entering heaven. My teacher was telling me, you have to bring that back here. I've seen this wonderful ashram, this wonderful place of teaching, and been told that this is. I had 3 ministers stop by on the road and tell me, you have a wonderful church here. This is absolutely beautiful. Talking to me. And that was in the higher realm. I've seen this place over and over again inside. One day I was told how I'm supposed to bring it back here. And now I'm realizing that I have to be determined. My teacher talked about a place that he saw on the inside, a church that he saw he was supposed to build. He regrettably told me that he did not build that place. He also told me that one day he went to a ministry in Chicago, and it was that very place with the same gold plates and the same gold silverware coming down on conveyor belts. It's the same place. Like these things are. And because I didn't tune in, I tuned into it, but so did someone else. But going to heaven is not enough. We have to bring it back here. Our goals, our dreams, those wonderful things that we would love to experience. We have to bring it here. We have to experience them. Even some things for those whom we love. That we may feel, well, this is out of my control. This is up to them doing what they're supposed to do. We have to bring that back here. Paramahansa Yogananda told the story of how he wanted, well, not really he, his sister wanted her husband to become a spiritual man. He was very cynical, and especially cynical about the spiritual path. And she asked Paramahansa, would he help her with this? He said that he would. He went to the Divine Mother, a statue of the Divine Mother. Now, don't get all caught up on this God, that God, the Divine Mother, the such and such God. All are aspects of the one God. So he went to the Divine Mother. He went to a statue of the Divine Mother. So it says in the book, Autobiography of a Yogi. And he stayed there with that statue until that statue came to life. He refused to leave. According to the story, the statue comes to life and tells him, I will bless your brother-in-law for you. A whole series of events happened. They went on a journey together, and one day they needed some food, and the brother-in-law was cynical and telling Pir Hansa, why do you have us out here? We don't have any food. Pir Hansa told him the Divine Mother will provide. Right after he says this is in India, the doors to a temple open, and the minister comes out and says, I've been watching you, talking about Pir Hansa, meditating, looking so blissful and so peaceful. And although our doors are closed to the public at this hour, we had a wonderful feast earlier, and we have so much food. We would like for you to come in and join a feast with us, even though this is against the rules. And his brother-in-law could not believe it. He came back, told his wife, Pir Hansa's sister, I am about this meditation now. I believe in your brother. I will not speak to him again until I am worthy of the conversation after beginning to study this meditation. He became a totally different man, a very spiritual man. And there's so much more to the story that's unbelievable. The love that took place between this man and his wife. The same man who was so cynical that he would have her in tears, now became this wonderful, loving husband. And he spoke about how he was changed. It made me think about the time I wanted to change in my son. My son, he has anxiety. He was young at the time, very young at the time. He was having a tough time at bowling, and he had tears in his eyes, and he was just so upset because he was bowling. He wasn't bowling like he wanted to. And he was upset. His anxiety was so bad he wanted to go home. He wanted to stop. And I thought to God in the universe, and I said, there's been times in which I've come to you and I've asked you for things for myself. Is it possible if I just chant my mantra unceasingly, just chant the AUM mantra unceasingly? Can I see my son go from being attached to what's happening with all his anxiety? Can I see him raise out of that? Now I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to tell him, hey, don't worry about this. Just have fun. But normally in a situation where it's gone this far, it would not work. But I did just that. And then I began to chant the mantra over and over again, just to see, is it possible to make a change in someone else? And I chanted and I chanted and I chanted for the next frame or so in my head. Not where people could hear me, but in my head. Suddenly something happened. My son, he began to high five the people who were bowling well, even though he hadn't been bowling well. And he began to smile and have more of a sense of peace over his face. Then an interesting thing happened. He suddenly started bowling incredibly well. Went on to have some high score, like a 257 or some crazy score at his young age. He went from way over here to way over there. And as I watched it happen, it was like I was in another world. I could barely feel my body. I could hear the own vibration just ringing. And I was being told just how powerful this meditation is. But I was determined. Pir Hansa was determined. I'm not leaving this room till I get an answer for a blessing. The power of determination is no joke. If you add it to your spiritual life, you can move into the world of heaven in all places. You can move into the world of heaven here and now. And when you add that determination, you're going to do whatever it is you know how to do. And the universe is going to tell you how to do more things. That's the way it works. I'm Craig Kimbrough, Positive Guru. That's positiveguru.com. Until next week, peace and blessings to you all. Ask anybody had any thoughts.